Bonsoir et bienvenue à la réunion publique. Good evening and welcome to our public meeting in regards to zoning of May 28, 2026. Call this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. Going to item number 2, adoption of the agenda. I'll need a mover and a seconder. Be it resolved that Council approve the agenda of May 28, 2026, public meeting as presented. Madame Bigelow, second by Monsieur Duval. All in favor? Those against? Carried. So, on va à l'item numéro 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none. Item number 4, in regards to the proposed zoning bylaw amendments in regards to Williams, file number Z-01-2026. With us this evening from Jail Richards, Mrs. Nikita Jariwala. Good evening, Mrs. Jariwala. You're going to do us the presentation?
Yes. Good evening. Yes, I will be doing the presentation for this public meeting.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, just give me 1 second to share my screen here. Okay. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so to get started, this public meeting is for the application Z01-2026. This public meeting is a requirement of the Planning Act and is being held to provide an opportunity for the public to voice their comments and concerns with regards to this proposed amendment. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the township to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the township before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. A person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So this application is affecting the property at 1303 Pleasant Corner Road West. And this zoning bylaw amendment application is a condition of the severance application B038-2025. So this is an aerial image of the property in question. So you'll see that both this blue area and the yellow together, that makes the totality of the property before the severance. And here is a zoomed in version of the portion of the property that was the the surplus farm dwelling portion. So you can see on this part of the severed property, there is a dwelling and there is also an existing accessory structure. So this zoning bylaw amendment will be affecting both the severed and retained lands. So just getting into that. So the purpose of this application, so the purpose is to rezone the severed land, which is the smaller piece that I showed you that was in yellow, to the Agricultural Special Exception Zone 43 and the Agricultural Special Exception Zone 43 with the mineral aggregate overlay. And these special exceptions are to reduce the minimum lot frontage from the required 45 meters to 20 meters and to increase the total accessory building lot coverage from 200 square meters to 300 square meters. And this is in order to retain the existing accessory structure. So I'll just flip back there again for a second. So this is the frontage in question. So this is looking to acknowledge sort of the existing condition. And here is the accessory structure on the property, again, looking to address an existing structure. The second part of this amendment is to rezone the retained lands. So that was the large blue portion of the property, to Agricultural Special Exception 44 and Agricultural Special Exception 44 with the mineral aggregate overlay. And the purpose of this is to prohibit residential uses and to reduce the minimum lot frontage from 100 meters to 61 meters. And again, I will just show that property again to show where the frontage is, and that the frontage is acknowledging an existing condition. So now getting into the planning analysis. So first comes the provincial planning statement. So the provincial planning statement, or PPS for short, states that in prime agricultural areas, the permitted uses and activities include agricultural uses, agricultural related, and on-farm diversified uses. It goes on to say that one new residential lot per farm consolidation for residence surplus to the agricultural operation can be permitted, provided some conditions. So the first is that the new lot will be limited to a minimum size needed to accommodate the use, as well as ensuring that it has appropriate services. Second, the planning authority ensures that new dwellings and additional residential units are prohibited on any remnant parcel of farmland. So next is the UCPR official plan. That's the United Counties of Prescott and Russell. The official plan states that there are certain requirements that need to be met in order to sever a surplus residential dwelling from the farmland. So these conditions include: one, that the residence is habitable; two, that the size of the surplus house is kept to a minimum size; three, that the minimum distance separation formula requirements are met. So as a result of this, the consent approval authority shall impose a condition on the severance that shall require a zoning bylaw amendment to prohibit residential uses on the farmland parcel. So this is where we're getting the special exception for the larger part of this property. So now getting into some of the details around the Champlain Township zoning bylaw. So for the severed lot A, which is the smaller piece, the proposed lot frontage is 20 meters, which does not comply with the minimum requirement of 45 meters. This lot also has that accessory structure, which I mentioned, which is already existing and is approximately 300 square meters, which exceeds the current allowance of the maximum of 200 square meters. So that's why this application is seeking a site-specific exception to address both the reduction in lot frontage as well as the increase in the total accessory building lot coverage. So for the retained lot, so that's the larger part of the property, the proposed lot frontage is 61.9 meters, which doesn't comply with the minimum requirement of 100 meters. Further, that site-specific exception for that lot is also required to prohibit residential uses, which is in accordance with the guidance that we get from both the provincial planning statement as well as from the United Counties of Prescott and Russell official plan. So this application is seeking these site-specific exceptions again to reduce the lot frontage and to prohibit residential uses. So here is a zoning schedule that really shows what's happening. Unfortunately, it does look more complicated than it is. Ultimately, the severed lands are going to special exception 43, which is over here, and the retained lands, which is the large portion, is going to special exception 44. The reason there's all these pieces is because the aggregate overlay only covers part of this property. There's no reason for us to put the aggregate overlay over the entire property where it doesn't apply. And sort of on the flip side, we're not able to remove the aggregate overlay from parts of this property because that is provided by the county. So in keeping with those, it creates a zoning schedule that's a bit complex, but to keep it simple, ultimately the request is a special exception for the large portion and one special exception for the smaller portion. So getting into the conclusion now. So in terms of notification, this application was received on April 30th. The zoning bylaw amendment was circulated to both internal and external agencies on May 6th. The mail notices were sent to neighbors within 120 meters of the subject property. A sign was posted at the property and notice was also published in the local newspaper. And these are all in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. So next steps. Today is just the public meeting. The decision on this amendment will be considered at the next council meeting, which will be on June 25th. There will be a 20-day appeal period as prescribed by the Planning Act following the notice of decision and the passing of the amending bylaw. Lastly, if you wish to be notified of this decision of council, you must make a written request addressed to the clerk at the township address. And that's the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Mrs. Jariwala. At this time, I would ask council if they have any questions in regards to the presentation made. Seeing none, I'll go to the audience or public. Anybody present who is here for comments or in favor or against? Come to the podium and none. So this will end our presentation or public meeting presentation. Therefore, we'll go to item number, no resolution. We'll go to adjournment, adjournement. Be it resolved that the public meeting on May 28, 2026 be adjourned. Proposeur appuyé, Mme Bigelow, seconded by Mr. Minor. All in favor? Against? Carried. On va prendre un petit 2 minutes so we can change our information, our agenda, and our YouTube session. Thank you.